Welcome back. This is Marc Rudov, branding advisor to CEOs and author of 3 books on branding for CEOs. You can get my books at markrudov.com/books. And all my videos are at markrudov.tv. Today's topic, the proof is not in the pudding. Every day I turn on the TV and I see some talking head saying about some subject, well, the proof is in the pudding. That's not the correct phrase. And you know, if you watch me, words matter. The correct phrase is, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. You don't know anything about the pudding unless you eat it. I don't know anything about your product or service until I use it. So just looking at the product doesn't tell me anything. I have to experience it. Remember, the next time you hear somebody say, the proof is in the pudding, that is incorrect. And the correct phrase is, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. And that makes sense, doesn't it? The next one of my pet peeves, and you know I have many, is I could care less. You talk about something with somebody, he tries to show that he doesn't really care, so he says, I could care less. But in fact, in saying I could care less, he means he could care less. He doesn't realize it, but he is incorrect. The correct phrase is I couldn't care less. So if you look at this scale that I've created for you, you see that all the way over on the left, you couldn't care less. That means 0 caring. All the way over on the right, maximum caring, you couldn't care more. So in the middle, it's somewhere in between, and as you move to the right, you're caring more, and as you're moving to the left, you're caring less. So if you absolutely don't care about something, you have to say, I couldn't care less. Again, you hear it from talking heads, you hear it in sitcoms, you hear it in business meetings. The correct phrase is, I couldn't care less. Next, this is one that has bugged me for my whole life. When people say, you can't have your cake and eat it too. Well, if you can't have your cake and eat it too, what's the purpose of having cake? And that's because the phrase is incorrect. The correct phrase is you can't eat your cake and have it too. Now, the first one I did, the pudding, the one on pudding is, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. That comes from the 17th century. That's been around a long time. This one, you can't eat your cake and have it too, comes from the 16th century. Now, what's funny about this one is that this phrase is the way that the FBI caught the Unabomber on April 3rd, 1996. The Unabomber used the phrase correctly in multiple of his manifestos. You can't eat your cake and have it too. Nobody was using it like that. Originally, it was, you can't eat your cake and have it too. Sometime over the years, somebody reversed it into a phrase that makes no sense. You can't have your cake and eat it too. Makes no sense. And the reason is, it's wrong. But the Unabomber used it correctly, and the FBI was able to use that phrase to trace him to wherever he was living in the woods. So remember that. The next time you hear somebody say, you can't have your cake and eat it too, you can point out that you heard it in my video, that he's wrong. Let's move on to the next one. Every so often, in the crowded skies, 2 planes almost collide. And invariably, somebody on the news will say it was a near miss. Well, a near miss is called a collision. It's a hit. It's not a near miss, it's a near hit. Makes sense, doesn't it? But people use it incorrectly. Words matter. So the next time on the news, on a busy travel day like this coming Thanksgiving, if there's a near collision, it's called a near collision or a near hit, not a near miss. And finally, because my first book on branding is called Be Unique or Be Ignored, which you can get at markrudov.com/books. You also can get it at beuniqueorbeignored.com. Doesn't matter. The word unique. The word unique means one of a kind. It stands alone. In Latin, it's sui generis. That's S-U-I, sui generis, G-E-N-E-R-I-S. Means one of a kind. No modifiers. No so unique, pretty unique, very unique. No, it's unique. It has a binary property. Something is either unique or it isn't. Somebody is either unique or he isn't. You can be distinct, very distinct, somewhat distinct. That's okay. But not with unique. Unique stands alone, one of a kind. That's it. I hope that this education on words has helped you. Words matter. Ask Bud Light. Bud Light destroyed itself by using words incorrectly that offended customers. And Dylan Mulvaney was the prop. When you are communicating with others, whether in private or in business, words matter. And when you're branding, especially they matter. Because if you don't communicate effectively, your words will either offend people or they will land on the ground and not affect them at all. If you need help in this regard, you know where to find me. I'm Marc Rudov at markrudov.com. Until next time.